HD2 New York, a good karma brands radio station.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Thursday. It's October 23rd, 2025. Michael K. and you for two, the fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio from 1 to 3, leading right into Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Now, the intent was to lead the show talking about the Knicks' victory over the Cavaliers. They used 11 players. They played well. They held off a spirited comeback by the Cavs, but they ended up winning that game. It's a good thing because the Cavaliers are going to be the team that battles them for the Eastern Conference. But the Knicks had gone 0-4 against the Cavaliers last year. They had not beaten them in 2 years, so they beat them in the first game of the season. All things, all good. But it's a long season, 81 games to go. But it does show you that they are going to use a lot of people on that bench. And again, 11 deep yesterday. And that's what we were sold about Mike Brown rather than Tom Thibodeau, because Thibodeau kept it short. Usually seven men, maybe 8 men at most, but 11 yesterday. But we're going to shift gears. I'm going to go to this gambling story that is breaking, and it's potentially huge. Because the one thing that fans need in a sport is they need trust. They need to know that everything is on the up and up. So 2 days into the NBA season, and this story breaks today, and it has far-reaching ramifications, and it involves some pretty big names. So let me give it to you quickly in case you have not heard it. I know that Bart and Carlin were talking about it as well. Hall of Fame player, current Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones, a former player who was a teammate of LeBron James and was once his personal shooting coach, were all charged in this far-reaching, sweeping federal indictment of illegal gambling charges. It was unsealed today, which resulted in the arrest of Billups, the arrest of Rozier as well. And the FBI Director Kash Patel said at a federal courthouse in Brooklyn today, quote, "This is the insider trading saga for the NBA." So we'll break it down for you quickly. Billups was indicted for his alleged participation, this is a story in The Athletic right now, in a wide-ranging, years-long scheme to defraud card players in poker games that was said to involve numerous members of the Bonanno, Gambino, Lucchese, and Genovese crime families in New York. Now, Rozier is charged for allegedly taking himself out of a game on purpose in 2023 so a co-conspirator could place a bet and win. These charges stem from the ongoing investigation that produced a guilty plea and a subsequent lifetime ban from basketball for former Raptors player Jonte Porter. Porter bet on NBA games, manipulated his own performance so that co-conspirators could win money on prop bets. So Porter did plead guilty in July of last year to one felony count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Now, Billups and Rozier were placed on leave by the NBA. Now, Jones, this is interesting, was charged in both cases, the poker case and also the manipulating a line case. Jones, a former teammate of LeBron James with the Heat. James brought Jones to Cleveland, first as his personal shooting coach, and he was later promoted to an assistant coach with Cleveland, and then he joined James with the Lakers. Jones was not formally employed by the Lakers, but was around the team often and was allowed to fly to away games on the team plane. So Jones, according to the indictment, said that Jones used his relationship with that player probably LeBron, and the team to gain information, and he then sold the information to professional gamblers. Now, LeBron has said that he had no idea that this was going on, but according to prosecutors, Jones found out on the morning of February 9, 2023, that player 3, which is obviously LeBron, would not play in the Lakers game against the Bucks that night, and told an unnamed co-conspirator to place a big bet on the Bucks because he was out. Now, that player, supposedly, allegedly LeBron, had not been named on the team's injury report yet, but would miss the game and James did, in fact, not play in that game. So it goes on and on and on. And it comes down to this. If fans lose trust in the legitimate outcome of a game, then we have big problems. We have huge, huge problems. That's all there is to it. Because the one thing that you have to have is you have to have trust that the games are real, that the games are, in fact, real. Now, I know the knee-jerk reaction in all of this. And so I'll say right up front that there's a betting site that is a major sponsor for this show, and there are betting sites that are major sponsors throughout the station's shows as well. And, ESPN, this is an ESPN New York station, actually owns a betting app, ESPN Bet. So this seems to be the jumping off point where everybody's going to say, well, see, you get in bed with betting sites. The leagues are in bed with betting sites. Of course, this is going to happen. So, listen, you're more than welcome to call in and debate me on this, 1-800-919-3776. I want to know the connection because as far as I know, the Black Sox scandal, there were no betting apps. There were no betting apps. People that are going to gamble are going to gamble. Bad people are going to do bad things. The betting apps, what they do is that they involve people of smaller betting. These are not the guys that are betting in the poker games that Chauncey Billups allegedly set up with the crime families. And these poker games were allegedly rigged. So Billups would find somebody that has a lot of money to blow, and he'd bring them to these poker games, and then these poker games with supposedly different shuffling decks and electronic equipment, those games were allegedly rigged. But we're not even talking about that. We're talking about the gambling aspect of it in terms of betting on sports. Tell me how, other than the fact that it's so closely regulated, and I believe that gambling is legal in 38 states in this country, the fact that there are betting sites, the fact that there are apps, they're closely watched. Every single betting pattern is watched. I can almost assure you, that the reason that these people are caught is that you could see the discrepancy in the bets. Why is there $200,000 being put on player A to not hit the over in terms of points? Why is that? Let's take a look into that. And that's exactly what the apps do. Now, once you're going to get in bed with gambling, gambling is going to become prevalent. It's going to become prevalent. But gambling was prevalent before these apps, before gambling was legal, before there was any kind of oversight to the extent that they can monitor every single bet that's made. And if there is a big amount of money that's put on a certain bet, a prop bet, boom, the red light goes on, and that's removed, and they investigate. And I'm sure the FBI had access to these sites that take a look closely at exactly what's going on. So, again, I read all the stories in The Athletic on this, ESPN, and then you look at the comments underneath. Well, because of the betting app. Well, tell me how. Tell me how that promotes this. Tell me how that promotes this. You don't think that these people that want to get inside information would not have bet with illegal bookies, and maybe it would not have even come to light. So the whole thing doesn't make all that much sense to me in terms of the players that are involved. So let's take a look at Terry Rozier. So he's charged for allegedly taking himself out of a game on purpose in 2023 so a co-conspirator could place a bet on him in terms of an over-under. Here's what I don't understand. Terry Rozier makes just under $25 million a year. What kind of moron would have to be involved to give out information like that so somebody could win $200,000 of ill-gotten gains? Now, maybe he's in some trouble. Maybe, again, allegedly, people have something on him. So the way that he could get out of trouble or get them to bury the stuff that they have on him is to do something like this. Well, shame on him for getting himself into a situation where he would be able to be, quote unquote, maybe blackmailed into doing something like this. But if you're just trying to make your buddies money by giving them inside information, you're a moron. You're a moron. And we saw it happen with Dante Porter. You know, he didn't make as much money. He didn't make $25 million a year like Terry Rozier. But he was making minimum wage in the NBA, which would lead you to believe that maybe he should not have been getting himself into a situation where he has to sit back and do something like this. Side note, you know Terry Rozier's lawyer's name is? Jim Trusty. I mean, how could you not trust a guy named Jim Trusty? I just wonder. Anyway, this alleged charge, it's not an alleged charge, this charge of the alleged wrongdoing of Terry Rozier was when he was playing for the Charlotte Hornets in 2023. Now, Chauncey Billups, I'm not quite sure why he would be involved in this. He makes a really good living, made a really good living as a player, makes a good amount of money as the head coach of Portland, and he gets involved with La Cosa Nostra for an illegal poker operation tied to the mafia. That's according to ABC News. So help me out with that. How could it happen? Why would it happen? And Kash Patel said it best. This is the insider trading saga for the NBA. It's amazing this stuff goes on, and then you find out that the NCAA just allowed all of its players to gamble on anything they want legally without any repercussions other than college sports. Why would you allow that? Why would you allow players to gamble on that? Why would you allow them to get into a situation where they could lose a lot of money by gambling legally or maybe illegally and then put themselves in a situation that it's held over their head and they do have to throw a game? And the fact that it's happening in the NBA, this is the eye-opener that people should really be paying attention to. If it's happening in the NBA, and it can happen to a guy like Terry Rozier, allegedly, who makes $25 million a year, don't you think that this runs rampant in college sports? Rampant. Now, I know NIL certainly pays them money that they never got paid before, at least over the table. Under the table, they got paid. But there are other players on teams. Not everybody is the kid from Utah that's going to make $8 million this year in NIL. There are other players that can impact a game, that can impact an over-under prop, that don't get paid squat. Those are the ones most likely to fall under the spell of doing something wrong to make a couple of extra bucks. So if it's happening in the NBA, and there are players that are being investigated from the Cleveland Guardians, and it could be happening in the MLB, and there have been a lot of football players in the NFL that have been suspended for a certain amount of time because of gambling. Don't you think it's happening so much more in college, where the players are not dealing in that sort of money, where if they could make an extra $50,000, they might do it to miss a free throw or to miss a shot so the over-under plays? But again, I want to zero in on this one thing, and you might not agree with me, and a lot of people probably don't. You can't blame it on the apps. Gambling's been going on forever. The Tim Donaghy situation with the NBA ref, that didn't involve apps. That involved illegal gambling. Now, is it a bad optic that these leagues where the players are getting into trouble for gambling are in bed with the gambling sites? Yeah, it's a bad optic, but I don't think that one leads to the other. One doesn't make them do something. Because an arena has a FanDuel sponsorship. Oh, then allegedly Terry Rozier said, I guess there's gambling going on. I guess I could throw a game or maybe take myself out of a game early so my over-under doesn't hit. Think about that. Think how ridiculous that is. How is there a direct correlation to what these idiot players are doing and the fact that there are gambling apps involved with sports and involved with sports radio and involved with everything on TV? You look at all the ads on NFL games and on the World Series that starts tomorrow and on the NBA games that we saw yesterday and on Tuesday. How does that impact this? Because the small-time bettors that are betting on an app, right, they are not the guys that are getting a hold, allegedly, of a Terry Rozier and saying, listen, we'd like you to take yourself out of a game so you don't hit the over on your over-under in points. Be serious. Now, gambling is more prevalent in this country because it's legal. It never used to be legal except in Vegas. I mean, sports gambling. but it was always going on. That's why I laugh with the NIL stuff. Everybody's outraged over the NIL stuff. The NIL stuff is just making legal what has been going on for years. It's just magnified how much money players can get. And I think the teams that are most upset about it, and the coaches that are most upset about what's going on here, is this. They used to excel at giving it under the table. And then there were the coaches that were actually legal about it, and they were at a disadvantage. Now, NIL, everybody essentially is legal cheating. There's no more under the table. You can give a player $8 million to go play for 1 year for your college team. Think about that. So many layers here. And the sports have to be cleaned up. And I love the fact that Rozier's agent or lawyer, Mr. Trusty, said, the NBA investigated this and they didn't find anything. Well, the FBI is a little bit stronger than the NBA. And do you really think the NBA, and I'm not casting any aspersions, do you really think they want to find this stuff going on where big-time players are implicated and then found guilty, and then all of a sudden your trust in the outcome of a game is no longer at the top of the trust tree? Think about that. But we're going to tie this to the apps. We're going to tie this to the legalized gambling. Gambling's been going on for centuries. And everybody's trying to get an edge. Everybody wants inside information. It goes on Wall Street. That's why insider trading happens. People do not want to gamble without getting as much information as they can. And if you could actually fix it, they're going to try to do that too. 1-800-919-3776. Let's hear from you. Let's go to Dave in Queens. Dave.
Michael, thanks. I'll get to the point, but Trusty, right? That's funny. But look at Otani's boy's name. iPay. Madoff's name was Madoff with the money, Madoff, right? And
it writes
the guy
itself,
was replaced.
Dave. It writes itself.
Yeah, writes itself. And the guy was replacing Mr. Big Shot Chauncey tonight. His coach is Tiago Splitter, like split the deck, split the cards, in poker.
Split tens.
Yeah, split the tens. Split, you know what I mean? But yeah, so Mike, I don't have any of those phone stuff. But, I do gamble, we'll put it that way. Uh-huh. And I've been gambling a long time. But the big difference is now, right, when you used to go to a bar, the gamblers would stay in the corner together and kind of talk about the spreads. It wasn't mainstream. Now, in the bar, right, the younger generation came up now and they got all the phone stuff. The whole bar it's about gambling. That's the difference. These apps make the difference in that yes, they're the ones that are not getting to Mr. not Big Shot, but Rozier and everything.
Right.
But the thing is, Rozier has a lot of friends. I'm sure baseball players have a lot of friends, and they have the apps, and they probably get the inside information, and they can make $10,000. It's definitely changed the game. These ads that your company and everyone else does. And I understand the business aspect. I understand why you guys do it. And I know why you're a very loyal guy. You're never going to knock a sponsor. And the thing is, you're not supposed to because you're just a great talk show host. But these apps have changed the game and these ads because everybody has it, Mike. As you know, your son is one day, when he's over 21, he's going to have it. And he's going to have it. I mean, I can't speak to the future, but they all, unless he's very rare, they're all going to bet these games. And in the World Cup in 2040, I bet you Charlie might have action on it because of an app. You know what I mean?
Well, I hear what you're saying. It makes gambling more prevalent. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it doesn't make this stuff happen because the people that are using the apps, for the most part, are not getting a hold of Terry Rozier to throw this. They're just not. But you're right. It makes it more prevalent. But it's not the app's fault. It's the fact that gambling became legal in 38 states. The courts overturned it. Because for years, the commissioner said they didn't want anything to do with gambling. Now, I don't know if that was being true or not, but they said they didn't want anything to do with it. But once it became legal, and I wouldn't accept a sponsor that I felt dirty with. The fact that the apps are legal and gambling is legal, people are big boys. I mean, we take beer ads, right? And there's a lot of people with alcohol problems. It's an individual choice. If you don't think you can afford it, you shouldn't do it. But what I'm saying is that what came down today, I don't think it has anything to do with apps. I think that the apps actually police this better because we can monitor the amount of bets that are going on a small prop bet that maybe wouldn't have been noticeable if it was all under the table. Henry in South Carolina. Henry.
I got super defensive of you, Michael, listening to that last caller. I'm shocked that you kept your cool, to be honest with you, because if anybody were to, use my son as part of their point, I'd be a little bit upset. I think that that is such a simplistic way of breaking this down. Clearly, this has nothing to do with a DraftKings or a FanDuel or any of the – look, there's ads everywhere. Is it irritating? Sure. And there's a conversation to be had with the proliferation of legal gambling and the addictions therein with people like us down here, the fans, who are doing these small bets which can amount to a lot of bigger things for us over here. That's one conversation to have. Right. But this is a very big sort of conspiracy gambling story, and I think breaking it down into thinking that it has anything to do with the apps is absolutely ridiculous.
But Henry, if you're listening today, and if you see the fans' comments, they want to implicate it. Well, that's because the leagues are in bed with the gambling sites, as if gambling didn't take place. It's like the old line in Casablanca. Gambling in this establishment, I'm shocked. There's gambling forever. Games were fixed. The Boston College situation all those years ago. Games were fixed. A World Series was fixed. There was no FanDuel. There was no Bet365. Bad people are going to find ways to do bad things and to try to get an edge. That's just the way the world works. I don't think this has anything to do with the apps. Again, I will repeat, the apps mean that the government and oversight of these things are much more than they ever were. You would not have noticed an uptick in a prop bet. But there are actually companies that follow that. That's their job, to make sure that there aren't improprieties. And if there is a big uptick in a bet on a Dante Porter over-under, well, that sends out screaming signals. Let's take a look into this. Let's go to Louis in Southern California. Louis.
What are the odds, Michael, today with these apps as opposed to like when I was a kid in the 70s betting on football? Mm-hmm. What are the odds today beating the house as opposed to then? Do you know?
I have no idea. The odds are always.
You would think
the
odds would go up now with all of these apps that are helping these people place bets.
I still don't think they want to lose money, though, Lou.
No, the house is never going to lose money. They wouldn't be there.
Right.
But you understand what I'm saying? The odds got to be better for the gambler now than the old days.
I think they're probably the same, Louis.
Well, all of this talk about
what the apps do, and we do it with the reads on the show. I mean, they press parlays and things like that. Parlays lower your odds of winning.
In all the years betting on football, I won one parlay.
Parlays are tough because it's tough, Louis, to win one bet. Now you're going to win two, possibly three. Yeah, the odds increase if you hit, but what are the chances of hitting two games or two props or three games or three props? But people should know this. Again, you can't hold people's hands through life because alcohol is a big problem in this country as well. Beer ads are all over the place. So I can just read, some of the people that are going to write over the weekend in their columns, well, this is deterioration, and then you're sponsoring the, and there are some people in my business too. Hey, you make your choice. They won't read the ads on games. Okay, that's your choice. You're going to take this high moral ground. I think it's the choice of the people whether or not they want to do it. So whether you read it or somebody else reads it, it's still on your broadcast. Still on your broadcast. So if you wanted to really take the high road, then don't even be on the broadcast if it's sponsored by a gambling site. And don't be on a broadcast that says, and brought to you by Budweiser and Michelob Ultra. Don't. I mean, again, if we're all going to be angels, right, then we should not be involved in any of that. But I think that people deserve the right to make decisions on their own. You're not holding somebody hostage to make a bet if you read an ad for FanDuel or Bet365 or DraftKings. You're not forcing them to bet. It's an individual's decision whether or not to bet or not. I don't bet. I have this stuff in front of me all the time. I watch sports all the time. Every single commercial is about a bet. I don't bet. It's my choice not to. I work really hard for my money. I'm not going to give it away. And there's nothing that I'm going to make betting on an app that's going to change my life. There's nothing. But for some people, they do it for fun. They do it to heighten the enjoyment of the game. You know, my one thing that I would tell you, and again, we are sponsored by a betting app. Don't bet more than you can lose. That's an easy thing, right? Don't bet more than you can lose. It doesn't make sense to do that. Why would you? All right, we're going to shift to the NFL with Dan Orlovsky in just a moment. We'll continue to talk about this if it interests you as well. Hey, shop new fall offers at Bay Ridge Mazda. Lease the 2025 Mazda CX-30S for as low as $199 per month, or finance for 2.9% APR for 36 months, or the 2025 Mazda CX-5S for as low as $229 per month, or finance for 2.9% APR for 36 months. Plus, enjoy 1 year of complimentary Bay Ridge Plus benefits like ding and dent coverage, key replacement, windshield protection, and roadside assistance. Visit them in Brooklyn or online at BayRidgeMazda.com. Bay Ridge Mazda, where confidence comes standard. See dealer for details.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Listen up. Ever ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Join Optimum and Lifetime for a star-powered event October 25th from noon to 2 at the Riverdale Crossing Optimum store in the Bronx. Meet Taye Diggs, actor, executive producer, and star of Lifetime's Terry McMillan presents His, Hers, and Ours.
You know so much about who you are. But do you know what makes your body your body? With over 100 lab tests and insights, Function can help you know the truth. Because you know you're made of grit, wit, and a good heart. But just how healthy is that heart? You know you're made up of all the places you've called home. You know you're made of your mom's sarcasm. And now you can find out if you have her thyroid too. You know you're made of college all-nighters and 30s early-nighters. But those still don't explain your sleep issues. You know that you're made up of good meals with even better conversation. But are you actually absorbing those nutrients? A Function membership gives you a comprehensive health check with results tracked over time. Find out what you're made of at functionhealth.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
There are a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 2025 Mazda CX-5 2.5 S Select for $229 for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for details. VIN S0595731. MSRP $31,915. Zero security deposit. Ends 10/31/25.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/play.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted car. Call 1-800-294-0222. You'll receive the maximum tax deduction, and we provide fast, free pickup. Call 1-800-294-0222. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Call 1-800-294-0222. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Welcome back to the show. Another big NFL week to talk about. Last week and the one coming up. And we always have an opportunity to go back and forth with our good friend Dan Orlovsky on Thursday at 1:30, and he joins us now. Hey, Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you, bud?
I'm doing very well. So let me give you an abstract question. You're a quarterback in the NFL. Would you rather, and you're trying to complete passes, would you rather have 3 guys rushing and 8 guys back where you have to find somebody to get open, or would you prefer to have them rush 4 and have 1 fewer guy covering the guys that you're trying to complete a pass to?
Yeah, I always want less thinking as long as I have someone decent to throw the ball to on the outside, so it goes always back to recess, my guy better than your guy. I have to think less, so then I could just focus on making the best throw possible. And so that would be my answer to that. When you get into those end of game situations and there's a reality of desperation, you remove, for quarterbacks, you remove any chance that we could be a quote unquote good decision maker, and we become an aggressive decision maker. And a lot of quarterbacks sit there and say, if you give me the chance, and I know that, here's the thing in the Knicks situation. He throws an interception there. He had no choice but to throw that football, right? So you remove the worry or doubt or fear from the quarterback's vantage of, well, what was that? And so then we get into a mindset of I'm just going to make the best throw. And I have this ability to think that the perfect throw is in there. And so when you drop 8 and you're not rushing my thought process and you're not making me make this elite throw under duress, more often than not, guys in the league are going to have the ability to make that one-of-one throw, that jaw-dropping throw, that impossible throw. And so, when you rush 8 or rush 3 and drop 8, there's always, especially playing window or with vision and zone, there's windows there. Someone can be open, and obviously they were.
And then you look at the 2 times that the Giants, beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The one thing that derailed Tom Brady was a rush. So I guess a quarterback, that's the last thing he wants is a rush, and that makes you wonder, why would Shane Bowen only rush 3?
Yeah. There's obviously different philosophies for how guys do it. When I played against the coach in those situations, like a Greg Williams, we were always getting blitzed. Rex Ryan, we were always getting blitzed. He wanted the ball out of your hands. And so I don't know. They're a zone-centric defense to begin with. That's kind of their nature. And so obviously that's falling in line. But I'm sure if he could look back, there's a play call there that he probably says, I wish I would have brought in an extra rusher, or at least maybe a simulated pressure and created a one-on-one for some of those pass rush guys. I think that's one of the things that stood out really in that fourth quarter, was just not really building any one-on-one rush opportunities for his pass rushers.
All right, we hadn't had a chance to ask you. So the one thing that I looked at in that the Bronco comeback, under 6 minutes, 3rd and 5, you're on your side of the field. Would you have had Jaxson Dart throw, or would you have run the ball and made the Broncos use that last time out?
Yeah, I'd probably make them use that last time out. That's always the fine line of, are we staying aggressive or are we playing passive? But you're getting to a point of statistics, and you're just getting to a point of knowing the only way they get in that game, Denver speaking, are two things. One, a turnover, or two, the clock is getting extended. And the more you can do to mitigate those two things, meaning not giving the ball away and allowing that clock to bleed or taking away their opportunity to stop that bleeding clock, only enhances your chances to win the football game. So, those are always situations that hopefully those people and those coaches have gone over of what to do and how to do it. But I probably would have sat there and said, let's play this smart and play the chances, take their last timeout away, and also we're not putting the ball in harm's way.
And also, you also have to take into consideration, Dan, I would think, that as good as Jaxson Dart has looked, he's still 22 years
Sure.
old. So, if it's Aaron Rodgers back there, maybe you take the chance of throwing on 3rd and 5.
Yeah, who you are, who you're playing against, they were obviously hot offensively, and there was some playmaking, ball bounces their way things, but you're playing with a relatively depleted perimeter unit offensively going against an elite coverage unit in Denver. And again, there was success, but who you are versus who you're going against has to play a part of that conversation.
Talking with Dan Orlovsky here on the Michael Kay Show. Okay, Dan, so they're playing the Eagles on Sunday, and because of a scheduling quirk, it's the second time they'll play the Eagles in about 17 or 18 days. So they beat up on the Eagles at MetLife, and now it's going to be down at the Link. So who has an advantage? It's almost like the question, who has an advantage? The pitcher that faces the hitter a lot, or the hitter that faces the pitcher a lot? So do the Giants have an advantage because they know what the Eagles are going to try to do, or do the Eagles gain an advantage because they've seen Dart and they know what he's going to do?
No, I think the Giants have an advantage. The Giants went out and beat them up. They had a lot of success, and so there's a lot of things that you can tap into, and in the ways that you had success, you could build different looks and formations or personnel groupings to get the same stuff. You know where they're weak. You know where you had success. And so the Eagles are aware of that as well. But at the end of the day, it's a one-on-one game. And so when you have people that you think are in better situations and can be more physical, and defensively, they played so well as well. And so I do think, and Philly, just being honest, they haven't necessarily shown, at least from an offensive perspective, this massive counterpunch, this we're steps ahead of you stuff. And so if that's something they tap into, that'll be a new thing. So I think that the Giants, because of their past success a couple of weeks ago, at least should feel good. It doesn't mean you're going to go play well again, but there should be a high level of confidence of what they're capable of doing, no doubt.
Are you more bullish on the Giants after what they've done with Dart as the quarterback? Have they surprised you? I know they haven't been able to close out against the Cowboys and then the Broncos, 2 games they should have won, but are you impressed by the way they've played when everybody thought, well, this could be a 2-15, 3-14 team?
There's no question I'm impressed. There's no question that they've played better than I thought they would. And I've reiterated that I was really high on Dart, so he's kind of playing the way that I expected him to. But I was also somebody that said after Malik, good luck. And so I think that, there's been pieces that have stepped up offensively that I've been very impressed with. I think the Lions played a lot better than they certainly did in the years past and to start this year, and the defense has had its moments. So, I think that they've played better as a football team than I thought. I think this game's really big. It's coming off of this unbelievably devastating and emotional loss. And I go back to watching the sideline of Dart coming off after the, touchdown about 40 seconds, and he's losing his mind, and rightfully so. And all of a sudden there's thoughts of can the Giants actually matter this year? And then obviously the end result is the end result. Can they bounce back? How do they bounce back? Can Dable get them to bounce back? I think that's a really big a really big week for, kind of what they're going to be like in the final 2 months of this season. And then, how much can the organization really believe in Dable? Because if he can get him to bounce back and play another good football game, I think that's a great sign for his future.
All right, you've been there, you've been in the arena, and I just wonder, for us on the outside looking in, it's kind of like white noise. So you've got Aaron Glenn, who refuses to name his quarterback because he wants to make it more difficult on Cincinnati. Do you believe that Cincinnati is really stressing over if it's going to be Taylor or Fields? Is this just, eyewash, as my colleague David Cohn says, or is there really something to it to wait to announce the quarterback?
Oh, no, for this team, there's definitely something to it. I mean, just put yourself in the Bengals' shoes, right? If you're the Bengals and you're their defensive coaches and Justin Fields is the starting quarterback, number one, and I've had defensive coaches say this to me, so I'm not making this up for everybody listening. Mm-hmm. You're treating Justin Fields like a running back in many ways. And so your whole game plan this week is stressing that because he is ridiculous as running the football. So your whole game plan is built upon spending time and effort and energy. How are we going to handle him in the pocket? How are we going to handle him as a runner? How do we want to, in scramble drills, defend that? And then there's the quarterback run game. So you're spending all of this time preparing for this style of quarterback if it's Justin. And then if it's not, and if it's Tyrod, you're spending so much more in pass game concepts. You're spending so much more on how you want to rush him. You're spending so much more on what coverages you want to play in certain situation of football, while also being aware that, hey, if Justin comes in, this would be our plan. So for this team, because the quarterbacks are so stylistically different, no, there's a massive difference, and I would agree with Aaron's kind of way he's handling that.
Do you believe that there's any chance that Aaron Glenn starts Fields again?
0% chance. He's impossible to go play Justin Fields. One, the owner, in his comments this past week, there's no way the head coach could then turn around and start that quarterback. And then if you're Justin, there's no way that you want to. The owners dragged your name and made it very clear that he doesn't think you could play and that you're not good. So if you're the quarterback, are you wanting to go out there? Like, that's not an enjoyable time. And people can say you're getting paid. I'm aware of all that. Like, the competitor, I'm sure, wants to be out there, but you can't go out there with confidence. So I think it's a 0% chance that Justin Fields starts.
All right, so let me play devil's advocate, Dan. What do the Jets have to gain by playing Taylor other than maybe getting a win or two and going 2-15? Isn't there more information to be gleaned by Justin Fields? I mean, 4 months ago you thought he was a quarterback that could be the future for you. Don't you want to know if this guy could turn it around?
Yes. I think we probably know who Justin Fields is right now as a quarterback in the league. He's had multiple places now. He's multiple years. He's had some good moments. He's had some tough moments. I think it's hard for anybody, and I've championed Justin. It's probably hard for anyone to pound the table that he's a starting quarterback. It's probably hard to sit here and justify that you're going to just totally, in the next 10 weeks, completely change the way you've played and the player that you are. And even if you do, are you really then going to look at that 10-week of body of work and have no doubt about it? And so I think it's very clear that the Jets' first pick next year is going to be a quarterback, or they're going to throw a ton of money at a free agent. Like, it can't be Daniel Jones, but I don't know who else is the free agent next year. So I think we have a pretty decent understanding of who Justin Fields is. And so I understand, okay, who Tyrod is, but this is a place right now that's just trying to find a way to get a win to quiet the noise and maybe, make sure that a firing of the head coach isn't necessarily something that becomes a larger talking point as the season goes on.
Dan Orlovsky, our guest on the Michael K. Show. So before I let you go, I've always said that the hardest position to play in all of sports is quarterback. There's so much pressure, so much on your plate.
Yes, sir.
So you played that position, and Tyrod Taylor, or should I say Justin Fields, obviously has not played well, and then the owner just trashes him, throws him under the bus. Now, if you were with Detroit and one of the Ford family said, oh, this guy's worse than a Pinto, I mean, how would it affect you?
Yeah, it would crush me. There's a reality that I think a lot of people or some people might sit there and say, well, the owner doesn't know anything. And that's not directed at Mr. Johnson. I think that's in general. Mm-hmm. And then there's people who go like, well, if he thinks that way, do other people in the building think that way? Did he hear that from somebody else? And I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to play. I'm a laughing stock. The owners said, I can't play anymore. So yeah, you're just deflated, and you're defeated, you're deflated. You don't think a lot of people believe in you in the building. And I'm not protecting Justin here. He hasn't played well enough to warrant that, but I've never heard of an owner talk like that. And I don't think as a player, it's hard to go out there and then go play, given the fan base and kind of the failures.
Good stuff, Dan. Thank you so much for coming on as always.
You got it, bud. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. That's Dan Orlovsky, our colleague at ESPN, NFL analyst, does a great job with that. So some interesting things that he had to say about the 3-man rush, 8 men back, and also the Jet decision. He said there's 0% chance he thinks that Justin Fields will start, which would make you wonder then why is Aaron Glenn playing this game? Because if Dan Orlovsky feels that, and I kind of feel that as well, don't you think the Bengals kind of think that too? I guess they have to prepare. Maybe there'll be some packages that they could use Fields with. 1-800-919-3776. Time for the co-host to chime in. Chris Simms joins us at 2, but I want to talk to you next, right here on the K Show on ESPN New York.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys. And behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy, like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win, can change lives. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally, and it works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month. Just call pound 250 and say the keyword timeout. That's keyword timeout after calling pound 250.
Are you ready to make a difference for the environment while helping the visually impaired at the same time? Then donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind today by calling 1-800-983-6530. Every donated vehicle will either be properly recycled in an eco-friendly manner or given a new life through reuse. Donating your vehicle is easy. Simply call 1-800-983-6530 and Heritage for the Blind will do the rest. They'll even arrange for your vehicle to be picked up at no cost to you. And for a limited time, when you donate your car, you'll receive a $200 restaurant voucher and a 2-night, 3-day hotel stay at one of 50 locations. Call 1-800-983-6530 right now to schedule your vehicle donation and make a positive impact on the environment while helping others. Heritage for the Blind, where every car donation counts and every person makes a difference. Call 1-800-983-6530 now. This advertisement is paid for by Heritage for the Blind.
The Association on Aging in New York is celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Older Americans Act, which funds vital programs for millions of older adults. Services include meals, transportation, home care, Medicare counseling, case management, and caregiver support. Today, people are uncertain whether some programs remain available. We can help. To learn more about these essential programs and how to keep them, visit our website at agingny.org. Sponsored by the Association on Aging in New York.
Dave Rothenberg here to tell you about my friends at Bathfitter. Now, they converted my kids' bathtub to a shower and did an incredible, really an unbelievable job. They offer all types of custom bath renovations, including their unique PermaFit solution for a watertight fit done in just one day. Durable and easy to clean with no demo or mess and lower cost than a standard replacement. And a lifetime guarantee. Right now, no money down, no payments, no interest until 2027. So start designing your bath today like we did at bathfitter.com. There's only one Bathfitter.
Is college even worth it these days? At Empire State University, it actually is. They are SUNY's leading online university. Flexible, affordable, and built for real life. With more than 120 degree programs, you can study what matters most to you. And students agree, they're ranked #1 in student satisfaction among SUNY schools. Whether you are finishing what you started or starting fresh, your goals are within reach. See for yourself. Visit SUNYempire.edu before the next term begins.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
In the city that never sleeps and never stops talking sports, ESPN New York is always on. Now you can live and breathe everything New York sports wherever you are. On your radio dial, on the ESPN New York app, and streaming live on YouTube. However you watch or listen, ESPN New York is always on for you. Hear us, stream us, watch us. This is ESPN New York.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. World Series starts tomorrow. The Blue Jays have announced that Trey Yesavage is going to start Game 1. Looks like Blake Snell probably for the Dodgers hasn't been made official yet, but it's an interesting World Series. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. Dodgers seem to be overwhelming favorites, but remember, the series starts in Toronto, and Toronto had one of the best home field records in all of baseball. They were dominant at Rogers Center, so I would not say that the Blue Jays have zero chance to win this. Now, the Dodgers starting pitching is outstanding, but the Blue Jays do battle from 1 to 9. They also might have another batter, too, because in the workout yesterday, they had Bo Bichette, who has missed the first rounds of the playoffs because of the knee injury he suffered against the Yankees in that game in September at the stadium. It's healed to the point that he could come back, and he's taking ground balls at second base. He's never played second base in his professional, in his major league career. So would they keep Jimenez at short and have Bichette play second? Because if you have him at second, Jimenez is a much better second baseman than he's a shortstop. And maybe John Snyder's thinking about, I don't want to upset the apple cart. This has worked so far. But it's worked to an extent. You really had a struggle to win that 7-game series against Seattle. So if you could make your team better. Now, Bichette, not a good defensive shortstop. He's not. So even Jimenez, who is a better second baseman than he's a shortstop, he's a better shortstop than Bichette is. But are you weakening second base to such a level that it doesn't make sense to play Bichette? Because you want Bichette's bat in the lineup. It's an interesting decision for Toronto and John Snyder. Now, talked about the Knicks. They beat the Cavs 119-111 yesterday. And there were a lot of stars at the game, a lot. And one of the stars was Aaron Judge, who was sitting next to his wife. And on the other side of his wife was Carmelo Anthony. And all I could think about, you got Aaron Judge sitting in the first row of the Garden. So those seats behind Aaron Judge, they're about $5,000. So imagine if you were the player or you were the person who spent $5,000, maybe even more if you bought it on the secondary market, to go to the home opener for the Knicks in a widely anticipated season, and you got an opportunity to sit in the seat directly behind Aaron Judge, he of the 6'7" frame. I mean, can you imagine? You're probably thrilled that you're that close to Aaron Judge, but there's no way you see the whole court. There's no way. And I'm sure that people have gone through that with Patrick Ewing sitting on Celebrity Row and things like that. But I think you'd rather sit behind Ben Stiller, who I think, tops out at like 5'8", or Kevin Bacon. But instead, or even Spike Lee, who's also not the tallest man in the world. Instead, you got to sit behind Aaron Judge. But the Knicks did win, so you saw enough of the game to know that the Knicks played 11 players which is unusual. It has been for the last 5 years with Thibodeau. But it's also unusual that, a lot of big-time players were hurt. Two guys, three guys on the Cavs, and then you've got no Josh Hart, no Mitchell Robinson, and it went back and forth whether or not Cat was going to play, and he ended up playing at 19 points, I think 11 rebounds, but he has a calf issue. So I think you're going to hear a lot about him being a game-time decision. There's going to be a lot of load management because Cavs take a long time, a long, long time. We're not going to spend that much time talking about the Nets for most of the year. I'm sorry. I know they're part of the network that I work for, and, the people seem nice enough. It's a great venue, Barclays Center, but they play a team that's also supposed to be bad this year, and they got absolutely waxed by the Hornets, 136-117. And I hit on this yesterday. They're giving away another year of their existence to lose on purpose. Think about it. They're giving away another year of their existence with no intention of contending. None. It's all about maneuvering for a draft spot. I find that hard to comprehend. I said it yesterday. There were some people that disagreed, and we never got a chance toward the end of the show to actually hear from the people that disagreed with me. I don't know how you could disagree. Let's say you're an 85-year-old Net fan. I don't know why an 85-year-old would be a Net fan. They haven't been around for so long that you could say, well, you've been that fan since you were a kid. But you're an 85-year-old Net fan. You don't have that many more years coming your way. Hopefully you do, but you probably don't. The odds would tell you don't. Oh, and the team pretty much says, yeah, we're not winning this year. 85 years old. You might not live to see another year. They've given away 2 seasons of the franchise's existence to not even try to win. I find that absolutely, absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's go to Rich in Brooklyn. Rich.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm good, Rich. How you doing?
I'm all right. Michael, I don't like the idea last night at the Knicks game because I heard it on ESPN New York. I heard it on 1050. I'm totally blind. I listen most of the time on the radio.
Right.
All right? Most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of, first of all, they had Aaron Judge there, Cam Scatterbu there. All right? Donovan Mitchell was shaking Aaron Judge's hand.
Right.
All right? Because they said it. Because Pat O'Keefe said it. All right? And this is ridiculous. These players should not be there on their day off.
Why?
Michael, if they get hurt, if you're on the baseline with cameras, photographers, they thought Karl Anthony Towns messed up his ankle by a photographer.
Rich, let me just ask you this question, and I'm going to take this off the reservation, okay? And I want you to consider this. So let's say the players on their day off didn't do that, and instead they were at their home and they had a raging orgy. Would that be better?
Why do you have to have a raging orgy?
But I mean, these people are human beings. I'm just saying that they could do something at home that could get them hurt. So you don't want them to go out.
But, Michael, okay, I get it. But Aaron Judge is supposed to be trying to get himself better.
Well, how's it going to affect his elbow? Rich, thank you for the phone call, but that's the most outrageous thing. No, that's the most outrageous thing I've ever heard. So a player's supposed to stay in saran wrap if during his offseason. Aaron Judge should never go out. He shouldn't even drive in a car. Why should he drive in a car? Why would you drive in a car and put yourself at risk to getting into an accident? Why would you ever go on a plane? I mean, the plane could go down. He should just sit in his home, wrapped up in cellophane, and never move until it's time to go to spring training. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, Rich. The most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And I bring up the orgy thing again because it's hyperbolic. So, people don't like players on their off days going out. They should be studying the playbook or something like that. But they could do whatever they want behind closed doors. They could have an eyes wide shut party. That's cool, but you don't know about it. So they do something innocent like going to a Knicks game, and you're gonna actually discourage that. I mean, really, Rich, the things to worry about. My goodness. Got Phil Simms, not Phil. We have his son, Chris Simms, coming up in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. Right now, Bay Ridge Honda, fall into savings with unstoppable savings across their full lineup of Honda cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and EVs during the Fall for Honda sales event. You can get the HR-V all-wheel drive LX for $299 a month with zero down during the Fall for Honda sales event. Plus, receive thousands in benefits and savings with their Bay Ridge Plus Advantage plan. Upfront pricing, total peace of mind. Visit BayRidgeHonda.com. 39 months lease, 10,000 miles per year, zero down plus tax, tag, and fees. See dealer for details.
Hey, this is Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson for three.
And this is your home for New York Knicks basketball. This is 880 ESPN.
WHSQ and WCBS FM HD2, New York.
Bet 365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that act first will win. Thrive Managed AI is your advantage over all your competitors. Thrive partners with you on a smart, secure AI strategy for your business. Then they deploy and manage it for you. Be first and win the race with Thrive Managed AI. Start with a complimentary strategy consultation at thrivenextgen.com/ESPN. That's thrivenextgen.com/ESPN.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Health surprises can change your life in an instant. You've seen it happen to others, but it doesn't have to be your story. At Princeton Longevity Center, we customize actionable and proactive health plans to maximize your lifespan and take control of your health. Our Cancer Check program combines cutting-edge technology with top medical expertise to keep you ahead of potential risks. With advanced full-body imaging, genetic testing, and multi-cancer detection blood tests, we look for even the earliest signs of problems. Results are analyzed by expert physicians who craft a personalized plan to safeguard your future. You're not just a patient, you're a partner in your health journey, backed by a team committed to helping you live longer, healthier, and more vibrantly. Our programs have saved hundreds of lives and empowered countless others to take control of their health. Be proactive with your health for the ultimate peace of mind. Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com.
There are a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 2025 Mazda CX-30 2.5S all-wheel drive for $159 for 33 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for details. VIN SM841631, MSRP $26,980, 0 security deposit, and 1031.25.
They say a full marathon is the ultimate test. For me, it's more than a race. It's a milestone I once thought impossible. Michelle Smallman here, and I'm running my very first marathon in New York City with the support of Gainbridge and Gainbridge Assists powered by Parity. Together, we're empowering girls and women through sports and education with grants to 32 organizations in 21 states. Every step I take is for the finish line and for the next generation chasing their dreams. Here's to 26.2 miles and a future with no limits.
Out here, pets are always by your side, watching the herd, running fence lines, or asleep at your feet. Pets are some of our favorite customers. When you bring them along to Tractor Supply, we'll always have a treat waiting. And with our price match guarantee, you'll always get the best price on their favorite food, toys, treats they love, and pet meds to keep them healthy. Tractor Supply, for pets out here.
Welcome back to the show, hour two of our 2-hour radio program, leading you into Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. And now we turn to our good friend, Chris Simms from NBC. He does college, he does pros, he has his own podcast. He's a man about town, and he joins us now on the show. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Big Michael. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Were you stunned that, A, the Giants played as well as they did in Denver, and then stunned also that they let that lead get away?
Yeah, I mean, I think both. Yes, you can have both there. I was stunned. I mean, it's the silver lining is it was dominant, really, for the better part of 3 quarters, right? And I didn't expect that. The other silver lining is, we had moments of the defense looking good and dominant and all that. And then, of course, the quarterback. I mean, the quarterback has proven to be an elite playmaker. I mean, when you have 15 completions and it's almost 300 yards passing, that tells you when he completes a pass, it's a big play. It changes field position. So, yes, I did not expect all that. And then, of course, the blowing of the lead and all of that, that was the first time in a long time on a Sunday night I was really feeling down in the dumps about the New York Giants.
So fans felt that way. You felt that way. Obviously, the team had to be devastated. So how do they bounce back from that? Is that really a test of Brian Daboll, how he keeps his troops together? Or is it an individual thing where players have to just erase that from their mind? Eagles are next.
It's all of it. It's all. You need voices in the locker room. You need the players individually to look at themselves in the mirror a little bit and be like, okay, we got to put that away, wipe the slate clean here. It's on Brian Daboll to also have the right messages there about moving forward. I worry about it. I just tell you that much right now. I think that last week's loss is the kind of loss where like one loss is affected and now we got 2 losses because of that first loss. That was crushing. I mean, again, if they win that football game, it's like, oh, okay, we're not a playoff team, but we're in the thick of things. And we've been real competitive and crazy. So to blow that lead the way they did, and, I think fault goes on everybody. I hear a little too much blame on the Giants defense. I get that too. But, man, I think it's just as egregious of what the Giants did on offense. Run the ball on first, run the ball on second against the craziest defense in football. And then, hey, everybody, we're throwing with Jaxson Dart here. Oh, he threw an interception. I'm shocked by that. A rookie quarterback in that. And then to do this very same thing the next drive, that deserves just as much blame as the defense, if not more. To run the ball on first and second down when there's 10, 11 guys within 4 yards of the line of scrimmage this day and age in the NFL, that's when you got to break out one of your cute play action passes or a bootleg and get a cheap first down because they're selling out to stop the run. To me, that was disappointing too, Michael.
So there are a lot of coaches that excel in the last 2 minutes and they know how to win games. And we've had 2 games this year, the Cowboy game and then the Bronco game, and also a game in New Orleans that they should have won. Do we have to question at this point, Chris, whether or not Daboll is that guy that can be a coach that can win games like that?
I think it's fair to question it. Yes, I mean, as much as I like Brian Daboll and everything, the proof's in the pudding. We know what it is. The Dallas Cowboy game, hey, that was unique in a lot of ways, and it was with Russell Wilson, and it's early in the year. And let's not forget, like the Cowboys, nobody stops that offense. Nobody. I mean, it's maybe the best in football. But yes, little situations like we saw the other day, that's concerning me a little bit. I mean, we've seen him do it and win games the year they went to the playoffs, his first year as a head coach. But unfortunately, it feels like we've had more of these conversations about them not being able to come through late in the football game, maybe more than you'd want if you're a Giants fan.
It's funny because, Don Hahn and Rosenberg, the show after me, they were discussing this yesterday, and I think it's a good discussion. So many people say, well, you can't get rid of Daboll because he's such a quarterback whisperer, and obviously Jaxson Dart is responding to what he's selling. But what's more important, the continued progression of Jaxson Dart, or do you have to say, we got to start winning games, and he might not be the coach for that?
Well, I think you can do both. And I don't, to me right now, the big picture thing is just continue the growth of Jaxson Dart. Mm-hmm. I don't think firing the head coach at this point of the year, anything's going to change the direction of the team, or all of a sudden it's some magic pill and like, oh wait, the Giants know how to win. I don't think that's the case. I think right now you just continue to fight. Hopefully they got some talented guys. Everybody's rallied around this quarterback. I think you continue to grow him, and then you have those tough conversations about whether Brian Daboll is the right guy to bring this team into the future after the season's over. That would be my 2 cents.
What's better, Chris? Is it going into Denver getting blown out 49-0, or playing well for 3 quarters and having that unbelievably devastating loss? What would be better for the team?
I know it's the big question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways, sometimes I think you can emotionally get over the 49-0 loss easier, right? As a player, because it's just like, whoa, the emotions are over. It's the second, third quarter. The game's over. We didn't put our best effort in. They whooped our butt. All right, we got to go back to, grinding on Monday and fix this. Where, yeah, when you lose a game like that, there's just so many what ifs, and it eats at you inside. I know I lost some bad games in my short NFL career to where, you'd get up on Wednesday or Thursday and you'd still be like, man, I can't believe we lost that effing game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think these are the harder ones to kind of put away for a coach and a player.
Were you surprised, and we're talking with Chris Simms on his weekly segment on the show, were you surprised the reaction of Russell Wilson, whether you like him as a quarterback or not? He's supposedly a really, really good guy.
Yes,
and he
right.
reacted really angrily at something that Sean Payton said. And I knew what Sean Payton was going to say afterward. He said, well, that wasn't a knock on Russell Wilson. But Sean Payton is really a smart guy. So saying that you told John Mara, I hope guys don't go to Dart before you play us, it's kind of a knock on Wilson. So do you understand both sides of what happened there?
I do. I do understand that. I totally do. I was shocked to your point about Russell Wilson. We've never really seen him do that, which right. I kind of liked. Because Russell Wilson, I think, by most in the NFL, is viewed as a little bit as a robot. Yes, very nice, but he's a robot. He's just going to kind of be for lack of a better way to say it, a politician at the quarterback position, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why he hasn't translated into some locker rooms a lot of the times because of that as well. And anybody that knows anybody in the NFL or knows Sean Payton knows he can ramble a little bit, and he can talk and talk and talk, just like he did with Nathaniel Hackett and, Aaron Rodgers last year when he said, keep my coach's name out of your mouth and all that. So he can be like that. I don't know if I really feel like Sean Payton did it deliberately to knock Russell Wilson. I do think he just got talking, and he's impressed by this young quarterback, and he tried to show praise with him and all that and talk about the story with the owner. But, yes, like to your point, he's smart enough to realize what's going to be inferred after you say something like that, especially this day and age of social media. So, and I guess the other part of this too, Michael, is I'm not sure if I think he, like I said, I don't think he did it deliberately, but also Sean Payton's like one of the greatest outlaws in the history of the NFL. I mean, we know that, whether it's Bountygate, whether it's 2 weeks ago going, the tush push is the safest play in football. He's not afraid to stick it to people, stick it to the NFL, and I kind of appreciate that about him, but yeah, now he's got to answer questions about that.
How much motivation do the Eagles have on Sunday to make up for that loss that they had to the Giants 17 days ago, and how did the Giants rebound from that devastating loss to do it again to the Eagles?
Yeah, I know. That's where it's going to be tough, and it's fresh in the Eagles' mind still, too, right? When you play somebody 2 times out of 3 games there, like it's fresh. They're not going to have forgotten about the way they played in New York. And then, of course, they go to Minnesota last week and get a few things figured out, and they're going to feel good about that. And then, yeah, like I told you before, I worry about the Giants not being able to emotionally get over last week. So 1 loss becomes 2 losses. The Giants in the first game took the approach on defense, especially of we're going to stop the run. We don't think Jalen Hurts can beat us. And they were right. But we know if he doesn't throw that interception close down there to the red zone, that game is going to be a nail-biter. I think this is the week Philadelphia gets their payback. They're at home. And I think they learned something last week where their offense is not going to be fixed. And I know everybody looks at it last week and goes, Jalen Hurts was amazing. Yeah, he was good, no doubt. And he throws a beautiful deep ball. But what they did on the offensive side of the ball, I still don't know if that's realistic to go, that's going to work. 4th down, let me buy time and throw the ball to A.J. Brown. They scored on the first drive last week and then really couldn't even put up more than 10 or 12 yards until late in the third quarter or halfway through the third quarter where he throws a bomb to Devontae Smith in a one-on-one situation. But I think the Giants got to pick their poison here, and they're going to try to stop Saquon Barkley, and I think they'll probably do the same thing. I just think it's dangerous in this one. And, yeah, I expect the Eagles to win. I picked them 31-17 this week, Michael.
And the Giants, I believe, are 6.5-point underdogs in that game. All right, let's shift over to the other game, and that's the Jets and Cincinnati. Aaron Glenn still is not making his quarterback known. The owner completely destroyed Justin Fields, so I don't know how Aaron Glenn starts Justin Fields.
Right.
And I look at it this way, Chris, and a lot of people disagree with me. You know what you have in Taylor. I think there's a lot more questions that you could find out about Justin Fields if you continue to play him. Starting Taylor, what are you going to win, 1 or 2 games? But what's your thought?
Well, I think what happens here, too, is there's just so much pressure on a winning football game now, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're maybe at a point here, Michael, and I'm not saying I'm right because I hear what you're saying, but I feel like I'm at a point now through 7 weeks of watching football to go, and all the other years combined to go, I know what Justin Fields is now. It's official. It wasn't the Bears offense. It's not that. It wasn't the Steelers offense. It's not that. It's just, as we've talked about in weeks past, it's just not enough of a high-quality passer and thrower for this day and age in the NFL. And I'm with you too, and I'm shocked. First off, I've never seen an owner kind of eviscerate a player, especially a quarterback, on his roster, right? That was amazing to me, and I want to be like, man, did Aaron Glenn not see that yet or get the memo? Like, I think the owner's kind of telling you who should play quarterback. And the other thing I'll go into, if Tyrod Taylor had a full week of practice last week and got to play as a starter against the Carolina Panthers, that was a game there that was there to be had. It was there to be won. The few throws and mistakes that Tyrod Taylor makes, I go, man, if he had a week of practice, he's going to hit that. It's just when you're a backup, you get limited reps. I think this is a week they could steal this game, just like I told you last week against Carolina. This could be the week. The Jets play some pass defense now. That's the one thing you can't really fault the Jets for. They've played some good offenses, and nobody can really throw on them. And that gives them a fighting chance against this Bengals team. But you got to be able to throw the ball on the Cincinnati Bengals as well. And that's where I think Tyrod Taylor gives them the best chance.
It's also funny, on the other side of the line is Joe Flacco. And, we talk to Steve Young every Monday. And Steve said, if you're an old quarterback and your arm is still there, you keep playing because it's all set up for you. He said that the only reason Peyton Manning retired, his arm went. Same thing with Drew Brees.
Exactly.
Do you agree that if you're an old quarterback but you can throw, you can actually succeed in this league?
Definitely, without a doubt. I think what Steve is saying, the rules are set up for it, just like we're just talking about for the Jets. You're old and you can't even get hit anymore. Oh, a pinky fingernail hit him in the head, 15 yards. Great, perfect. Oh, I threw the ball into double coverage, but one of the defenders hit my receiver. Oh, great, first down, even though I made a bad throw and a bad decision. So, yes, it's still, this is where I get into it of, yes, some of the good teams in football are running the football now. We know that. But still, the big plays and yards to be had there and the way the league has swayed the rules for the offense, I do. And Flacco, Michael, is just, and I know you know this, he's one of those guys that I don't think people really realize how awesome he was in the prime of his career. Having been on the field against him a few times, first off, he's a huge human being. He moves somewhat well still for his age now, moved really well in his prime. And if you give him time, like you saw last week, he's unconscious in the pocket, and he'll be aggressive and throw lasers all over the field. And good for Joe. Joe's an awesome guy. I have it's hard not to root for him.
Did you have on your bingo card that after 7 weeks, the Colts would have the best record in the NFL?
No, and I don't know anybody that does. And if there is somebody out there, please introduce me to that person because I'd like to ask him a few more questions. But my line with the Colts all preseason, all in the spring was, this is a team that's got a lot of playoff caliber players and a playoff roster. I don't know if I had the guts to pick them to go to the playoffs, right? And I didn't ultimately. I certainly didn't see this. But you see, Shane Steichen is an offensive genius. I think I told you that pretty early on in the football season.
Yep.
He's right up there with the McVays and the Shanahans and the Andy Reids and whoever else you want to put in that group. He is special. And now that you see he's got a quarterback that can handle all of his creativity at the line of scrimmage in the huddle and all that mentally, wow, there's nothing you can look at on their offense and go, there's a flaw. The defense is where you look. They're a little bit bend, don't break. But, no, they're clearly playing the best team ball in football. And I think they'll probably be in the market for trading an elite defender when the trade deadline comes there because, yeah, Super Bowl is certainly in the realistic reality of the Indianapolis Colts.
People were split. Daniel Jones couldn't play, whatever the case. But some people said, well, it's just a bad situation. Did you think he could be this good, though, Chris? Did this present itself to you that he could be this good?
I don't know if I saw it to be this good. I think, you've heard me say, too, that the league, there's a disconnect between what the league thought of Daniel Jones and what the New York fans think, and most fans think of Daniel Jones. I thought he could come close to something like this. This is what everybody kind of viewed him as. Is if you give him a system and you give him some weapons, he's going to know how to utilize that system, and he's big and he's fast and he throws – he's very accurate in the 5 to 15 to 20 range, and that's where he's special. Listen, Michael, I'm the guy that a few years ago drove everybody crazy, and I said, wait, if you put Daniel Jones on the Eagles, it doesn't look any different. So I've been a believer in Daniel Jones, and I know how hard it was for him to play quarterback with the Giants, for everything on the outside circumstances. And then, of course, hey, yeah, you go play quarterback when somebody's in the backfield ready to rip your head off after a half a second every time you drop back to throw. And that's where I had a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for him there.
I also have to give credit to Saquon Barkley. He always said, this guy's a really good quarterback. It's just a bad situation. He said that for years.
I think a lot of people that were around him saw that. One, you've been around him. I mean, he's Cam Newton big. That the people don't realize what a specimen and an Adonis Daniel Jones is. It's 6'5", it's 245, and he's watching his weight. He can really run. Do you know other quarterbacks in football that have 80-yard runs in the league? I don't, other than Lamar Jackson and that. And then, of course, we know his brains and his ability to be accurate. And, yes, Saquon, of course, he realized it because he's going, wait, I'm awesome, and I can't get 4 yards on this damn team. So he understood that, and I think there was a lot of people in football that understood that, and I think there was a lot more teams than people realize trying to get Daniel Jones in the offseason to be a part of their football team.
One thing I don't understand, Chris, is what's going on with Tua. The things that he's saying, the way that he's playing, is it confusing to you as well?
Yes, it definitely. I don't understand what he's doing in front of the microphone. That's be the first thing. I mean, he has made a lot of mistakes and airing out their public laundry unnecessary at a time where I go, man, you're not playing that good to be doing that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, again, you're talking to a guy here that's never been real high on Tua, right? I mean, he's being paid like he's Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, and it's not even in the same stratosphere. They've ruined their organization because they love stars down there, and the stars keep screwing them over, and they haven't built a team. Oh, here, Jalen Ramsey, have all this money. Oh, Bradley Chubb, here, have this money. I call them star effers down there, okay, without saying the bad word here, and I'm going, yeah, now they're getting, effed back by their stars a little bit here. But it's very hard, and this is where I stick up for Mike McDaniel, Michael, is I go, wait, they've been a playoff caliber team. He's invented the most fun offense and the most exciting offense in football the last 4 years with a quarterback who can't throw the ball down the field. They don't want him to hold the ball in the pocket because he has a concussion problem, but we all expect it to work perfectly. And, so I never thought he's as talented as what maybe others did. And now the fact that they can't play defense and there's no Tyreek Hill out there and the windows are a little tighter to throw the football, I think you're seeing the flaws in Tua's game in a big way.
Are we close to saying that the Ravens season is done? I mean, they're in last place.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge one this week. And I get the feeling, with no inside info, that Lamar Jackson's not playing this week. And if he's not playing this week, I would pick the Bears to win the game. Even if Lamar does play, I think the Bears have a chance to win the game. The Ravens' defense is pitiful. The Bears' offense is balanced and explosive and got weapons. But, yeah, I think this is a literally do-or-die game. If they don't win this one, then you basically have to run the table from here on out. And I'm shocked that they're favored by 6.5. And when I hear a limited on a Wednesday from a Lamar Jackson, limited means like he went out there and like went through the walkthrough and maybe just threw a few balls standing around. That doesn't sound like a guy that's going to be able to play on Sunday and run around and make the magic that he usually does.
All right, in closing, I mean, you have opinions on all sports, and the big story today is what's happening in the NBA, the arrests that were made. Did that ever permeate any NFL locker room that you were in, that people were talking about betting or things like that, or was that like radioactive that you just wanted no part of being near it?
Gosh, I mean, I feel like I was never on a team that was ever even like a part of the conversation in the locker room. Everybody knew not to be near that. Did we have a Tuesday night? Let's go play Texas Hold'em and poker against each other? Yeah, we did that when I was in Denver. Me and Brandon Stokely, Lamont Jordan, every Monday night. It was, let's go do that. But betting on games, I swear on anything, I don't remember any player ever talking about a spread of an NFL game my whole career. So, but it's a new era. And as you know, with the phone and all that, it's just so easy and accessible. And this is where, these leagues have got their work cut out for them with this stuff now.
Oh, absolutely. Give me a plug on your podcast. Where can people get it?
Well, you can get it anywhere you get podcasts, right? NBC Sports YouTube page if you want to watch me on there. We go live on YouTube on Mondays and Tuesdays. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. So if you want to get in the weeds a little bit and learn some football and get to X's and O's and where I went into depth about the Giants game management at the end of the game last week and all that, come check me out at Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Great stuff, Chris. Thanks so much. Talk to you next
all right,
Thursday.
buddy. You know it, man. Have a good weekend.
All right, be well. That's Chris Simms. Good stuff from him. When we come back, we'll revisit the gambling story. That's certainly the big story so far in the day in sports and really in news today as well. 1-800-919-3776 if you'd like to be part of the conversation. It's the K Show. Now, you could be watching us right now. You really could. Just go to ESPN, the ESPN New York app, click on that. Then there's a tile for the ESPN New York YouTube page. You click on that and subscribe for free. It costs you nothing. So not only do you get to hear me, but you get to see me. Now, some might say that's a disadvantage. Some might say it's an advantage. Some might say it's fun. Some might say I can make fun of the size of his head. It's all available for you. Just watch us on the ESPN New York YouTube page. It's the K Show going till 3 right here on ESPN New York.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
Ballybet Sportsbook. Yo, Ballybet stacked for football season. When it comes to sportsbook apps, it's undefeated. Ballybet. Check out that brand new parlay zone. Here's the kickoff. Build your bets and place them right on your phone. What? Live bets, daily boosts, and promos. Increase your odds so you can win more dough. Touchdown! Ballybet's the play. Make game day more fun and download it today. Must be 21 plus, New York only. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Ballybet Sportsbook and Casino. Download it.
You know so much about who you are. But do you know what makes your body your body? With over 100 lab tests and insights, Function can help you know the truth. Because you know you're made of grit, wit, and a good heart. But just how healthy is that heart? You know you're made up of all the places you've called home. You know you're made of your mom's sarcasm. And now you can find out if you have her thyroid too. You know you're made of college all-nighters and 30s early-nighters, but those still don't explain your sleep issues. You know that you're made up of good meals with even better conversation. But are you actually absorbing those nutrients? A Function membership gives you a comprehensive health check with results tracked over time. Find out what you're made of at functionhealth.com.
Serving contractors, builders, and homeowners in the tri-state area since 1987, Brooklyn Window & Door is New York City's largest stocking dealer of quality Andersen window and doors. The professionals at Brooklyn Window & Door will help solve any of your window replacement needs or applications. Visit Brooklyn Window & Door's award-winning showroom to see the complete Andersen product line, including the 400, 100, A&E series. Andersen, built, backed, and serviced like no other window.
Visit Brooklyn Window & Door at 185 30th Street in Brooklyn or call 718-WINDOWS.
Score or win this game day with Amazon Pickup, the MVP of package pickup. Need that new football jersey for the big matchup? With Amazon Pickup, you can collect your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule. Whether you're running from work or home or straight to the tailgate, Amazon Pickup makes it easy and worry-free at no extra cost. Don't miss kickoff. Grab your gear and your packages when it works for you. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Hey, Game Time is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 7 p.m., the Rangers host the Sharks at Madison Square Garden. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. right here on ESPN New York. And at 7 p.m., the Islanders host the Red Wings at UBS Arena. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. You know, we just talked about the Rangers and the Islanders and their game tonight. I just want to make a quick aside. Yesterday was announced that the Hall of Fame hockey columnist Larry Brooks is stepping aside for a bit to deal with a personal matter. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I will tell you this. Larry Brooks is one of the great writers in sports, because I have never been the biggest hockey fan, just haven't been. And I read him religiously because he makes what I don't look at as something really interesting for me to the point that I want to dive into every single aspect. And I dive into every aspect with him because he makes it understandable. He makes it relatable to those that are not a hockey savants like Don LaGreca. For me. So his column on Sunday is a must read. And if it's a health issue with Larry, I hope he gets through it quickly. He happens to also be a terrific guy. And you know how good of a writer he is for this reason. Sometimes during the summer when there's no hockey, the Post sends him out to cover baseball. Covers the Mets, covers the Yankees, writes columns. And those columns are on point and smart and expertly written. So get better quick if it is indeed a health issue, and if it's something else, I hope that's resolved as well, because we want to see you back in the New York Post as soon as you can get there. The big story today, obviously, is the gambling story that's out there with Terry Rozier of the Heat arrested, Chauncey Billups arrested, and Damon Jones, a friend and a former shooting coach of LeBron James also arrested. So you can't look at this as anything but a major story because the credibility of a league is at stake. Now, Peter Vesey, the Hall of Fame columnist, used to write for the Post. Now he tweets out every now and then, but still so sharp and on top of everything. And he tweeted this out 3 hours ago. He said, "My only surprise regarding any of this is what took it so long to happen. It was never about would it happen. It was always about when." And that tells you something. You know, this is a guy who still has inside sources within the NBA. Not a matter of if, but when. And people want to put a lot of the blame on the fact that, it's the gambling sites and the websites and it's the apps and all that. I don't think it has anything to do with that. If anything, I think those things allow you to find out about improprieties and shifting in lines that you might not have seen. So when you see, Terry Rozier, who makes $25 million a year, there's a big surge of about $200,000 on an over-under, and he leaves the game after 9 minutes with a quote-unquote injury, you wouldn't have seen that because the apps and the government, they now monitor this very closely. They did not monitor it this closely when gambling wasn't legal, but gambling was still very prevalent. It just wasn't legal. So if you bet with the corner bookie, and I'm sure they didn't have as many props as they do now on the app, but if you bet with the corner bookie and all of a sudden there was a big movement in a line, you might not know about it. Or big movement on a specific bet, you might not know about it. They might know about it, and they would take the game off the line maybe, but the government wouldn't know about it in terms of you getting arrested. But now it's right there. They have algorithms that they check everything, all the sites. See, why is there so much money being put on Dante Porter and his over-under? And that sends up red flags, and they investigate. But this is a massively big story. Massively. So with Rozier, charged for allegedly taking himself out of a game on purpose in 2023, that was when he was with the Hornets, so that a co-conspirator could place a bet on an over-under on him. Now with Billups, the head coach of Portland, he's involved in an illegal poker operation tied to the mafia, according to ABC News. And I got to tell you this dirty little secret. The NBA wouldn't care one bit about that. If he gets arrested and thrown in jail because he's looking for suckers or whales to bring to a poker game where it might be fixed, the NBA just gets rid of Chauncey Billups. He never works there again, and it doesn't impact the game because he didn't do anything that impacted an NBA game and the legitimacy of an NBA game. But the Terry Rozier situation, the Damon Jones situation, that stuff scares them. So 2 games into a highly anticipated season, the beginning of 3 massive television contracts for the next 11 years, over about $80 billion, this is not what the NBA wanted. They don't want to have their game's legitimacy called into question. They just don't. Why would they? What a mess. What a mess. So I mentioned earlier in the show that Rozier makes close to $25 million this year. What kind of money could be that seductive? Because we're not talking millions, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, that you would do something so wrong and throw a game. What kind of money would move the needle for you like that? Now, I'm not condoning what Dante Porter did, but he's thrown out of the NBA forever. The guy made minimum wage. Well, that's about $800, $900 a year. What kind of money would it be to make you do something stupid like that? But then I saw a tweet from Craig Carton, who said people look at the amount of money that somebody makes and they say, well, why did he do that? He said it's not about the money, it's about a sickness. He said it could be somebody with a scratch-off game or it could be somebody who makes hundreds of millions of dollars. It's just about the juice. And I understand what Craig is saying in that, but my rebuttal would be, what kind of money did Rozier make if he took himself out of a game after 9 minutes so that people could collect $200,000. How much? Again, he's not the one getting the rush from the gambling. He's actually doing it for others who might be paying him a certain amount of money. How much money could you be in the hole or get yourself into trouble to such an extent that you would involve yourself with people that would make you do something that you know that if you got caught, your career would be over? That's what I don't understand. Now, if he was placing a bet on it, I understand what Craig's saying. That I kind of understand. But is he placing a bet on it? Or is he just helping others to make money? And they might give him a little kickback. Or is he in trouble? Because it makes no sense to me how a guy making $25 million a year would get involved in something like this. Now, as for Damon Jones, he's a shooting coach for LeBron. So what could that mean? Well, he's always around the Lakers. He's on their team playing. He knows injuries before the injuries are made public, and he's giving that information to people, and they're paying him for that information. That's how that happens. And we see it happening with the Guardians. Emmanuel Clase is being paid, but he's not allowed to play until they resolve and find out exactly what's going on. And also Ortiz, the starting pitcher, same deal. The amount of money that Emmanuel Clase was making to do stuff like this, and again, I'm going to harp on this point, and it's not because I'm protecting FanDuel or Bet365 or DraftKings, which makes the engines run for sports. I'm just saying these things don't happen because of the apps. They don't, because it's bigger than the apps. And gambling has gone on for a long time. There were no apps when the Chicago White Sox threw a World Series. There are always going to be people who want to get an edge, that are doing something illegal that want to get an edge. Because if you're the house in a poker tournament, you're going to make money. I mean, you're going to ask for money just to be part of that poker tournament. But if you believe the story, the alleged story about Chauncey Billups is involved in, they had rigged shuffle machines. They had electronic devices that could make you cheat so that the house would even win more. So the house is always going to make money. Vegas is always going to make money. Always. That's the way it's set up. But that's not enough for some, especially if you're going to the underworld. They want more. They want more. 1-800-919-3776. Joe Flacco said something yesterday during a press conference I found very, very funny. He said when he was young and he would be in a restaurant and he would see somebody eating alone, he would feel really sorry for that person. And he would almost like think about walking over and sitting down and talking with the person. Well, now his family lives in Jersey. They're not in Cincinnati with him. And he said, he said, I love my family. I wish I was with them rather than sitting in a restaurant eating alone. He said, but now I realize when I'm at an older age that when you see that guy sitting alone, he's in heaven. He loves the fact that he's alone. He loves the fact that this time is all his. And he doesn't have to share it with anybody else. I thought that was a really interesting take by Joe Flacco. Everybody loves their family. But when you're around a family, there's a lot of noise. I don't mean like actual noise, but there's things going on. You got to solve problems and, stuff like that. And if you get a moment away, that's time to take a deep breath. And he said he never realized that until he got older. But I still look at people that are sitting alone, especially older people. My wife and I were out for dinner last Friday night, and there was an old guy sitting in the restaurant where we were in, and he was reading a book. And I said to my wife, that's so sad. She goes, he's probably happy as a clam. Maybe his family's at home. Maybe he's happy. I still have that thing that Joe Flacco had when he was younger. But when Joe Flacco said what he said, it did make me think maybe he has a little bit of a point. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Jordan in East Islip. Jordan.
Michael, I saw an Instagram post the other day where Aaron Judge was outside walking his dog. Outside. Do you believe that, Michael? That's so dangerous.
Now, for those that just tuned in, I'll let you finish your point. For those that just tuned in, we had a caller earlier who said that Aaron Judge shouldn't be at a Knicks game because it's dangerous, and Cam Scatterbo shouldn't be on an off day because they could get hurt. And I kind of shot him down, but thank you, Jordan, for tying it all together.
I mean, the most shocking part about that call was that he didn't tell you what year he's been a Yankee fan since, honestly. But
I don't get that much on this show as I did in the afternoon.
No, you're right. But I appreciate you taking my call and letting me do that stupid little bit. What I wanted to say about the Knicks was that, I really do think that was an awesome way to start the season. As far as, feeling good about a win in the first game of the season against the other team that's probably thinking to themselves, well, so-and-so is hurt here, so-and-so is hurt there. This could really be our year, and finished ahead of us last year. I think that was a really great win. I will say, though, I was thinking watching, the bench is already just, you can tell this is just a deeper team and they have more horses, and I can't help but think that Tibbs at least deserve this year. I nothing against Mike Brown, but if you had fired Tibbs after this season, if they came up short, everybody would have understood it. There would have been no excuses. But now you're watching a team with a much deeper bench running a better offense against a team like the Cavs. And I just, it opened up that wound a little bit for me.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I would just temper my enthusiasm a little bit because the teams are not what they're going to be. Cleveland missing 3 important players, the Knicks missing Hart and missing Mitchell Robinson. So that wasn't the full bore. But we did see that the bench is much improved. Yabusele didn't play that well yesterday. He looks like he's really heavy. He's 18 pounds more than he was last year. Jordan Clarkson, he's kind of like an explosive sort of player up the bench. It makes me laugh, though. They go, Mike Brown is playing a deeper bench. He played 11 guys, and he is. And he played Kolek, and Kolek had some nice moments. But I would look at it this way. Tibbs' bench last year, you had Precious Achiuwa, DeLon Wright, and Cam Payne. So I don't know why anybody was so itching for him to go to the bench so much. And, they did quite well and went to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. They did. Some people don't want to hear that, but I don't think he was dealing with the best bench. But maybe they wanted him to play the young guys more, and that's probably it. And so, Kolek played yesterday as well, and, they use their bench more than they have in the past. Get it. Got it. But we'll see how that plays out. They also played Huck Porter yesterday, who, was a body. He did okay, and that was a guy that Tibbs had access to last year. But Tibbs didn't trust young players because he felt every game he had to win every single game. That's just the way he rolled, and it worked for him to an extent. To Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's see if they go further. We'll go further. Another segment, a lot of you, as we go to Don Hahn and Rosenberg. So that's coming up at 3, right here on ESPN New York.
Make cancer screening a part of your annual healthcare routine. New York Presbyterian offers a full range of cancer screenings, including lung, cervical, prostate, colorectal, breast, and more. Regular cancer screenings could save your life by detecting cancer at its earliest, most treatable stages. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester. Learn more at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
Long Island is brewing some spooky fun at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel. We're celebrating this October for our $50,000 Witchy Wednesdays drawing. Be here on Wednesday, October 1st, 15th, and 29th from 3 to 7 p.m. when 2 winners will be drawn every hour to pick a witch's hat and win up to $5,000 cash. Club members can conjure up to 5 times entry multipliers. Fly over to where Long Island wins at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel. If gambling is a problem for you or someone you care about, please call the 24-hour toll-free helpline at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Looking for the best internet deal? It's just a fast phone call away. Only Optimum Fiber Internet delivers the fastest and most reliable fiber internet starting at just $40 a month. That's right, lightning fast fiber internet at a price that won't slow you down. Call 888-4OPTIMUM today to lock in your offer in just a few minutes and see how you can also get the Disney Plus Hulu bundle and an unlimited mobile line on us. Don't take slow for an answer. Call 888-4OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com today. Terms apply.
There are a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Get 1.9% financing on a new Mazda 2025 CX-50 or lease for $219 for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for lease details. VIN SN 390557. MSRP $32,455. Zero security deposit. APR $17.48 per $1,000 financed. Ends 10/31/25.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
From the regular season to the Super Bowl, ESPN New York is your destination for football. We've got crazy fans.
If the Giants somehow beat the Cowboys, I'm going to take a dump on your head.
You can feel good because you're a damn football team. Expert analysis.
Marcus Spears joins us now. ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
Mel Kiper Jr.
The Hall of Famer Steve Young.
He's kind of our resident general manager, Louis Riddick.
We got Mike Tannenbaum right now.
And all your fantasy and wagering needs. This is ESPN New York. We are football.
So yesterday, the NBA was on ESPN. The Knicks and the Cavs, first national game, and then a really good game in terms of, like, stars, the Spurs against the Mavs. And if you watch Victor Wembanyama, wow. I mean, this guy is a 6'1" point guard in a body that's well over 7 feet. The way he moves, it's not the way a big man moves. It's almost like he's an AI creation. That's how amazing this guy is. So he dropped 40 points. Now, Cooper Flagg, it was his NBA debut, didn't play that well. On the opening tip, Anthony Davis had an alley-oop for him, and Cooper Flagg missed a dunk. Anthony Davis got the rebound and ended up putting it in himself, but that would have gotten him off the schneid right away. I think he finished with 11 points, didn't look that great. But Wembanyama is just on a different level. The things that he can do at that size, I don't think they've ever been done at that size. I mean, we look at, Magic Johnson, what he did. He's 6'9". This guy, what, is 7'5"? He's just extraordinary. Now, he's so thin, and you hope that injuries don't bring him down. But if this guy could stay healthy, what a special player he's going to be. He's special right now. Special right now. Did anybody get to see the first Inside the NBA on ESPN? For those that were worried that it was going to be ESPN or they were going to tone it down because they were on the worldwide leader, which is owned by Disney, it's the same show as it was on TNT. The exact same show. Shaq taking out stacks of hundreds, betting Charles and Kenny on certain things that happened in the show. Barkley making comments about ugly women and stuff like that, which aren't nice, but what I'm saying is the show hasn't changed at all. So the people at ESPN knew that what they signed up for when they licensed the show, and the show is the exact same show as it used to be. Highly, highly, highly entertaining. 1-800-919-3776. I did want to bring up one thing to look out for, and they're getting a lot of criticism about it. But the LA Angels hired Kirk Suzuki as their manager. Now, he's been in the front office where he's worked with Zach Manasian, the GM, for a long time. And he was a respected guy as a player, a catcher. But he signed a one-year contract. A one-year contract. And people going, well, I mean, what kind of commitment is that, a one-year deal? Because it looked like they wanted to sign Albert Pujols. But it came down to, they said, a contract issue. So everybody thought it was money. I don't think it's money. Here's what Artie Moreno was thinking. And this is what we should all be worried about. Artie Moreno doesn't want to sign any manager to a 3-year contract. And you say, well, why, Michael? Well, we know that there's going to be baseball in 2026. We don't know if there's going to be baseball in 2027 because the collective bargaining agreement, the last year is this coming season. After that, I mean, I've heard the doomsday scenarios that they'll shut down the game for a year, even longer, to get a salary cap. So Artie Moreno's probably thinking, why should I pay a manager for not managing games if there's not going to be any games? I'm sure that that's what he's thinking. It's not that he doesn't have faith in Kurt Suzuki. And if you're Kurt Suzuki, this might be your only chance to be a manager. And let's say you do a good job with the Angels and they actually play very well. You'll get that second or third year when baseball returns, or if it never leaves, they'll re-sign you. So he's taking a chance on himself. Now, the negativity is, well, the players aren't going to respect him because he doesn't have any job security. I doubt that. I doubt they're going to concern themselves with that. I've never been one of those people that say, oh, I can't go into the final year of my contract. You have to give me an extension because the players don't respect me. Nonsense. You have a contract. Manage for that contract. And I'm almost certain that's what Artie Moreno's doing. Artie Moreno really counts his money. And let's say you give Kurt Suzuki, I don't know, $1.5, $2 million. Let's round it off to $2 million. You think he wants to give him a 3-year, $6 million deal where he doesn't have to work for the money the second year? This way he gives him a 1-year deal, and then we'll see what happens with baseball after that. That's exactly what was going on there. I'm telling you. Mark my words, that's exactly what was going on. Let's go to Andrew in Medford. Andrew.
Yeah, hey, Mike.
Hey, Andrew.
Can I say two quick things?
Sure.
I want to say about the Yankees, I think it'd be a good move if they go after Real Muto, the catcher, because obviously they need a right-hand catcher, but I think it'd be good for Wells, too, having a seasoned veteran there with him. And I think it's priority to sign Bellinger because it's going to be tough to fill that void in center field. I don't know if they go back with Grissom or Spencer Jones should get a shot coming up, whether it's competing against Dominguez. And also, I like to say with the Giants right now, they should go after this Ricky White player. He's on the practice squad with Seattle, and it wouldn't cost anything for him at all. They don't have to trade up, no money, nothing, and they need whatever it takes to get that a little extra edge to win now. And this guy is like a special teams guru. He blocked 4 punts last year. He's praised by his coaches.
Then why is he on the practice squad?
Huh?
Why is he on a practice squad?
Well, I guess no one wanted him in the NFL, but I think it's a shot taken because they're not going to pay that for him.
I mean, but you're saying he's a special teams guru, and he's not on a team. There are 32 teams. I think one team would want a guru. Now, we're up against the clock. You realize that Real Muto next year is going to play at 35 years old. He's not going to sign a 1-year deal. He wants a multi-year contract. He probably has the most value to Philadelphia. And you think he's going to come here and platoon with Austin Wells? So if you're the right-handed side of a platoon, that means you're going to play 25% of the games? There's so many holes in that argument. Listen, Real Muto's a terrific player. You're signing a free agent catcher at the age of 35 for 3 years? When the Yankees seem like they have a 3D printer that spits out catchers. And that's where you're going to spend your money? No. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Real Muto ends up returning to the Phillies. Don Hahn and Rosenberg coming up next. I'm sure they'll have the latest on the gambling situation that's rifling through sports right now. Bad look for the NBA. We'll be back again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's our 2-pack for sure as well. A lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll do it with you, and we'll preview the World Series as well. Game 1 is tomorrow night, Dodgers and the Blue Jays in Toronto. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a great afternoon. Don Hahn and Rosenberg next, and I'll talk to you tomorrow at 1.
Why do you have to have a raging orgy?
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids.